Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Secret Base figure preview video. Before we begin, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person and snapping these gorgeous high-res pictures. Show Ryan some love in the comments below, because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. Now, I'm getting my Superior Spidey from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research. Make sure you are comfortable before buying. I have popped the link to their site in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. Now, this came completely out of left field, at least for me. Look, I knew we were going to get more suits from Spider-Man 2. I just didn't think it was going to be the Superior Spidey suit. I would have put money on the Anti-Venom suit or that god-awful one that we got for Miles at the end of the game. I'm still happy to see this though, because for those of you who don't know, in the comics, this is a very different suit. This is Doc Ock's mind implanted into the body of a deceased Peter Parker. He then went about establishing the fact that he was a superior version of Spidey. Hence why this is called Superior Spider-Man. Now, in the game, of course, this is just a suit you can wear and it's still Peter Parker, so none of that stuff about Doc Ock really matters to this particular figure. It's just that if you're a comic book fan, this is probably going to hit a little bit different for you. I love the color scheme of the Superior Spidey suit, so I was all in as soon as I saw those first pictures hit Facebook. Now, the hands are quite unique. You've got this textured palm section done in red, so it contrasts against the black and gunmetal for the rest of the hand. We also have these very spiky long fingernails. I'd almost go so far as to say that the hands kind of look armored to me. We do get the usual suspects in terms of the gestures, though. We've got web-whipping hands, closed fists that now double up as web-swinging hands because they've got the hole drilled through the top of them, open palm hands, and wall-crawling / splayed-out finger hands. They have thrown in some swap-out lenses, which we'll get to when we talk about the head sculpt. They've also decided to go with the new set of webs for Superior Spidey. So they just plug into the palm of the hand with that little swap-out piece, just like we saw with the Advanced Suit 2.0 and the upgraded suit for Miles, also from the Spider-Man 2 game. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the new array of webs, I do, but I think there's one missing, honestly. I would love to see in the future an actual wired web, so we could get really dynamic with it when it comes to posing. For the display base, it's the same style of base that we received with the Spider-Man 1 game line, the Miles Morales game line, and now for Spider-Man 2. It just says Superior Suit on the front. As for Spidey himself, luckily they recently figured out how to solve the weird ankle bunching issue. As you can see with Superior Suit Spidey, there's no ugliness at play here at all. It's completely smooth for the ankles. He does have toe articulation for those wondering. Plus this little spiky around the front. I'm hoping that that doesn't get bent or warped when you just have him standing straight up and down, because it is sticking down. So it would be pressed up against the display base unless you actuate the toe joint forward, which you may actually need to do. We'll just have to wait and see when this guy releases. For the most part, if I just was looking at this shot, someone showed this to me on a phone screen or something, I'd probably think that it was Miles because it looks very, very similar to the upgraded suit, with all of the texture and the panel line details and the belt area. All of that stuff is a spitting image of Miles' suit. If not a little bit different, it just comes down to the placement of the panels, the textures, and the shapes and sizes of various things. Either way, what I'm trying to say is it looks like one of Miles' suits. Not a bad thing at all, though. Miles' color scheme, the vibrant red contrasting against the black with the various textures and all of the panels at play, it just adds a ton of visual interest, and this guy definitely will stand out alongside all of Peter's other suits if you did collect the entire line. As you can see, they do have him on the waist clamp. Don't do that. Any of these rubberized material Spidey suits, when they're posed in midair on these waist clamps, they inevitably do damage to the suit itself. Because of the pressure of that spring clamping this thing around his waist, it just digs into the fabric and it leaves indentations over time. Hot Toys seemingly recently have decided to tout that they've made something more accurate than they did last time, or they've given a figure greater range of motion, or in this guy's case, they've given us highly articulated Waldos or spider legs. But they never seem to talk about durability. That's the one sticking point for me when it comes to Hot Toys Spidey suits, literally, because see that bunching on the right shoulder there? If you leave that like that, the material will fuse to itself. Having that pressure on that joint, with the fabric pressed up against itself, those two layers, it's gonna do damage. And I don't think that's good enough, honestly. I've defended this in the past. I think that nowadays, in 2024, when third-party companies are making these rubberized superhero suits, yet they're also durable, Hot Toys owes it to collectors to invest in R&D to figure out a way of either top-coating the surface so it doesn't stick to itself, or just having it be able to bounce back more easily from creases. Like I said, we've seen third-party companies do this. It is a thing that is possible, so Hot Toys, why aren't you all getting it done? It's something to think about. I love accuracy. I love the way this guy looks. It's just that I kind of wish that I could pose him a little bit more. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail the whole video with that mini rant, but I'm not apologizing to you, Hot Toys. I stick by what I said. You need to do some R&D. Get these things to be more durable. And then you can brag about that as well, I suppose. The web shooters, though, are quite interesting. They're these big, chonky things, and you can see there's this little red portion up on top that looks like a gemstone or some translucent plastic. You can see the wrist peg, but I don't think that's going to be a massive issue. You should be able to pull the suit over the top of it so it looks a little bit more seamless. Not quite as seamless as the Advanced Suit 1.0 or 2.0 though, because they had separate web shooters that sat over the top of the wrist pegs. Nevertheless, I'm not concerned. As for the spider legs, Hot Toys are clearly very proud of these things, as they should be. They are an important part of a Doc Ock Spider-Man figure. He needs to have the spider legs. They've got a ton of articulation. Hot Toys really wants to hammer that point home. They even made a little video highlighting the fact that these things can move a bunch. They're quite geometric, very spiky towards the pincers, and they're painted in this stunning metallic red. So if you want a Spidey figure that's going to pop in the collection, I've already said this, he's going to stand out, he's different, he's visually interesting. This guy is probably going to do it for you. The only complaint I have is that when you pull these things out of that panel on his back, instead of giving us those little cap cover pieces like they gave us with the Iron Spider suits, either the MCU one or the video game one, heck, they even gave them to us with Venom and Carnage, there's just some massive gaping holes in the backpack. They didn't even bother to cover them up this time. There's actually a picture in the announcement post of the back of Spidey, like they're proud of the fact that there's these massive holes there. Granted, most of the time you're probably going to want to display him with the legs on. If you don't, though, if you don't have the room for it, but you still love this suit, there are going to be holes on the back of Spidey. The lenses, a very interesting shape. They're quite thin, and they're Superior Spidey specific. Not to mention, they aren't bright at all. They're this glossy finish. They've got this deep richness to them. Almost like a dark copper color. And two different styles, like I already mentioned. The web pattern is asymmetrical, meaning it's all kinds of crazy and messy looking. Going with a sculpted head rather than a fabric-covered head sculpt is a bold choice. Sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. As long as they match the texture of the head sculpt to the suit, and the finish, and the color, and the raised web lines, if they are raised on both the head and the body, I don't see an issue with a sculpted head because you don't have any seams, and the fabric isn't going to shift around on the surface of the head sculpt when you're posing him. Whereas the only real benefit to the fabric head sculpt is that you have fabric on it. I don't really care about that, like I said, as long as everything is perfectly matched, as it is with this guy. They seem to be getting better and better at that, so going forward, maybe one day we'll get a live-action Spidey figure with a sculpted head, so no seams anywhere, no visible ugliness. I reckon it's just the way to go to perfectly capture the look of Spidey's noggin. Overall, Superior Spidey, is it a hit or a miss? I reckon it's a massive hit. If you're a fan of the comics, specifically this run where Doc Ock was Superior Spidey, and this is something that you were hoping Hot Toys were going to make, Well, here it is. So, yeah, now's your chance to go ahead and pick this guy up. Before the video games, I never thought we'd get anywhere near the number of comic book based suits that we've now received from Hot Toys. Spider-Punk, Scarlet Spider, Iron Spider, Spider Armor Mark IV, Cyborg Spider-Man 2099. All of those were kind of just so far out of reach before we got the games. Now they've opened up a whole list of different suits that we can finally get from Hot Toys. And I'm hoping they just keep this line going. Now, I'm going to get mine from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research. Make sure you are comfortable before buying. I have popped the link to their site in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.